So where do I begin on this one? The wake up call. The reason why I had the wake up call and missed it. I don't know. It's this one that's been plaguing me a little bit. Now I'm currently reading this book, "Put Your Ass Where Your Heart Wants to Be." It's one of Stephen Pressfield books. All of his non-fiction books are along a certain theme. And a lot of it's about resistance and the shadow career and turning pro. And a lot of the language I use has been heavily influenced by these books because they're fucking incredible. Like, if you're starting down this journey and you don't know where to start by reading these books. But it just kind of occurred to me the other day because so I had my wake up call. What? I'm going to turn 33 this year, so call it 3 years ago, after my daughter's first birthday. So it was a crossover point between she turned 1 and then about a month later I turned 30. And I'm looking at this beautiful, perfect little angel and going, I want to be here for as many of these as humanly possible. I don't want to miss a second of this. I don't want to, be on my deathbed and go, I could have been part of more. Like, I want to meet my grandkids. I want to meet my great grandkids. Hopefully I want to potentially maybe even my great grandkids. Like, my great great grandkids. Like, I'm planning to live to 120, and children honestly change that for me. Like, I always wanted to live a really long life, but family and kids and all that kind of stuff fully shifted that for me. So that was my beginning wake up call. And, I probably should have had it sooner. Like, the first phase of this was, when my wife was 6 months pregnant, I ended up in hospital for 5 days with a heart condition. And look, it turned out to be nothing. It turned out that it was a genetic predisposition, but basically, periodically, my heart skips a beat and then does a double beat, basically, to catch up. It's not great, but it's just how I'm built, kind of thing. But the combination and the flow-on effect of that happening, going, fuck, that was scary. We thought I was going to die. My doctor called me and was like, go to the hospital now. Do not do anything. Just go to the fucking hospital right this second. And I was rushed down to Westmead in Sydney, and I spent 5 days in there. And I'm in this unit where I'm the youngest by legitimately 50 years kind of thing. And I was like, start questioning my life. And then we fast forward to my daughter's first birthday. And I've been a transformation coach, strength coach in the fitness industry, whatever the fuck you want to call it, since I was 17 years old. And I was probably 120 kilos. And I was fat. And I was out of shape. And I looked like shit. And I felt like shit. Look, I was still fit enough because I was working out, quote unquote, working out. Like, I was doing stuff, but clearly not enough. I was eating like an asshole, and it was bad. Like, it was honestly bad. So I had that wake up call. And in that space of time, in 126 days, I lost 30 kilos. Got ripped as fuck. Like, the best shape I've ever been in my life. So, I'm 30, and I'm now in the best shape of my life. And then I got comfortable. And then I got cocky. And I I did. I let it slide. Slipped back to, I think it was 115 kilos. I was out of shape. And again, I was like, I'm still fitter than most people. And I was, but I still wasn't great. Like, I was still beyond a dad bod. And I fucking despise a dad bod. And I had excuses. Like, I tore my meniscus and my ACL. Did my shoulder in. All this kind of stuff. My trainer left, and I went from working full-time at home on the computer and doing all that kind of stuff to working between 40 and 45 hours a week of floored face-to-face time, plus doing all the computer stuff. My life shifted, quite drastically. but I kept telling myself a story, because I was still living that shadow career. I fell off. Like, it wasn't until I was truly thrust back into it and I went, fuck. Either I start chasing my greatness and I step outside of this shadow career, this comfortability, this joke of an existence, and I chase what truly matters to me, what matters in here, what I have been called to, what that muse, the universe, God, whatever you want to call it, is whispering in my ear that I am meant to do. I start pursuing that and changing lives and impacting lives and doing it the way I know I should, or it's going to kill me. Living this shadow life is going to kill me. Granted, it's probably going to take, like, I'm not going to die, like drop dead, but it emotionally, mentally, spiritually was going to kill me. I was going to become a shell of the man. Fuck, I already was. Like, I was like this shell. Yeah, I was showing up and I got lit up when I was with my wife, with my kids. Those things were fantastic. They were the ray of lights, in the darkness. But it meant I dreaded going to work every day. And I still do. Like, I feel better about it now because I know I'm transitioning and that's fine. But it filtered into every aspect of my life. It was about what I was doing for work. It was how I was living my life. It was the story I was telling myself. It was how I was showing up as a man. I was a shell. I was a shell of the man I knew. I didn't have that fire. I didn't have that passion. I was just living day to day. And, the best parts of my day were my family and my kids. And that's still the case. But it meant that every other part of it was like, like, I don't want to do this. I didn't look forward to the workouts. I hated the foods. I was hiding from my life through TV, through social media, through food, through drink, through all these kinds of things. And I was lying to myself and I was lying to everyone around me. And this is the problem with it. This is when you lose touch with who you are, with who you truly are as a man. When you lose those things, when you don't have a purpose, you don't have a challenge, and you don't have something to go to war with, when you're just existing. And I think, look, as a society, that's where we're at. And it's fucking sad, but I think it's so sad for us as men to never reach our potential physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, to see what we're capable of. And it all starts on that physical level. It's why I cannot get away from it enough. Like, yes, this is a lot about business. Yes, this is about making money. Yes, this is about, the man I am. But that foundational tool, that foundational thing about your confidence, how you show up, how you enter a room, how you feel about yourself, is your physical aspect. You cannot reach your true potential in all the other areas of life if you're fat as fuck and you hate yourself. And that's not a judgment, because that's from me coming from that. I have spent far too much of my life yo-yoing up and down out of, to carrying massive excess weight. Like, I got into college and I played college basketball. When I arrived at college, I was 110 kilos. Fat. Like, I was fat. By the end of my first year, I'd gone too far the fucking other way. I was 67 kilos. I was skin and bones. I was lean as fuck. And I was just this little dude. And, this is the challenge. This is the battle. And it's every time I lose track of the man I am in here that I go back to that. And I have zero judgment for anyone who's doing the work. If you are showing up and doing the work, I have no problem. I don't care what level you are at. I will respect, support, guide, help, assist, do anything I can if you are in this to do the work. If you are hiding from it, that's when I have the problem. And that's why I had the problem with myself. Like, I had it because I've been there. I know what that feels like. And it's not a judgment thing. It's like, mate, let's elevate from this. I can see the hurt. Your body is the sign that you're hurting, that you're not happy inside, that you're not the man you want to be. It's a, giant flag going, hey, I fucking hate my life. I'm sedating through my life. Because if the other areas of your life are good, you don't need to sedate. You don't need to find comfort and joy through food, through TV, through sitting and doing fucking nothing, through social media, through porn addiction, through drugs, through alcohol. You don't need to find those things consistently. Don't get me wrong. I still love, I, I love alcohol. I do drugs. I've done all those kinds of things. I enjoy that. And there are still components of that in my life. Like, I have a full bar set up in my house. For Christmas every year, I make signature cocktails. My wife makes the most incredible food. I love those things. But we need to learn how to enjoy them in the moment, in a small capacity. As Cookie Monster now says, cookies are sometimes foods. Like, it's that capacity that we need to utilize it, not as every week thing. Because when it's every week, it's not a true enjoyment of that. And look, I know there are going to be people who disagree with me, and that's fine as fuck, and I don't give a shit about that. It's about speaking to you as the man who understands what I'm trying to say to you, that we cannot be relying to find happiness in a quick dopamine, in instant gratification. It's a sad fucking existence if you're only getting happiness from a dopamine hit, from scrolling, from instant gratification, from those kinds of things. You need to start looking after you first. Because once you start feeling physically fit and strong, once you go to war and you find that passion, I was discussing it yesterday, like, there are certain things when you get to that point, it's like this monster erupts out of you. And I found it like usually sprints or stairs or kettlebells or something, and you are going and you're just like, fuck. And then you just get this passion ignites in you, and you're like, let's fucking go. And you find another gear and you push harder. That feeling, that carries on for days. I was talking to a mate when we were doing a workout. We were doing this kettlebell complex. You got to the end and it was like, yeah, we fucking did that. We crushed that workout. And that lights you up for the whole day. That fuels you for the rest of the day. And you do great things. That's a great fucking day when you can come at it like that. And this is the type of stuff that we need in our lives. If you wake up every day and go, fuck, the alarm is the saddest fucking thing that, comes to mind, and you just want to stay in bed and hide from the world. And you spend all day going, I just can't wait to get home and watch TV and eat some food. Like, it's not rude. It's a statement of fact. How sad is that fucking existence? And there is only one person to blame, and it's you. But the good news on that, the flip side of that is you can change that. And as I just told you, I was there. I would literally get to the end of the days and this is how fucking sad it was. Like, I was hiding it from my wife. Like, my wife takes the kids up to see their grandparents on Wednesdays. And Wednesdays night, usually I'd chow down. I'd have 2, maybe 3 pints of Ben and Jerry's. I'd eat an entire pizza. There'd be lollies, there'd be chips. And I had to eat it all in that night because then I would hide the evidence so no one would know. Of course she knew. And she didn't care either. She was there to support me regardless. But it was my shame. I was ashamed of myself. And every time I do this, and every time I'd give in, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? And I knew that I was meant for more. Like, this wasn't making me happy. This wasn't fulfilling me. Yeah, I enjoyed it in the moment, but it doesn't create anything. But doing those workouts, pushing yourself to your limits, staying strong, building that momentum, seeing that change in the mirror, seeing your progress, winning the day, those things, that creates fulfillment. That creates joy. When you have a purpose, when you wake up in the morning and my purpose is bigger than me, and it has to be bigger than you because there are going to be days where this shit sucks. where you embrace the suck and the work sucks and you are not going to enjoy this shit. That's just the reality of it. There are just going to be days where you don't want to do that. But more often than not, you're going to be excited about it. And that's the part. But you need a purpose bigger than you for those days. And my purpose is that I need to be a shining fucking example to my wife and kids. I speak about it all the time, but you are your daughter's first love and your son's first hero. And I need them to look at me and go, Dad is a man of his word. Dad is a man who gets in and does the fucking work. He doesn't let anything hold him down. And one day they're going to look at you. And I looked at my parents this way, and this isn't shade on them. It's just a fact, And they told me I could do anything, and I believed them, and I believed it to my core. And there was one day when I woke up and I looked at my parents, and especially my father, and I was like, but you didn't chase your dreams. You still haven't chased your dreams. You keep bailing on it. And I lived that cycle for a long time, and I didn't want that anymore. The day I earned more money than both my parents combined was a really confronting day, and I nearly burnt my business to the ground. Well, I did burn it down to the ground. Luckily, I was able to revive it, but it was a business I didn't want to do. But you are leading by example, and I want to set such a high example that my kids believe that they can do fucking anything. They're like, look who my dad is. We can take on anything. It doesn't matter what the world throws at us. We will handle it. And that comes by leading by example. And and it has to start now. My son just turned 2, and my daughter will turn 4 at the end of this year. And it starts now. Even down to things like, we're currently looking for a new house. And we're looking, my daughter came with me. And she's 3.5. And she looks at it around and she goes, I don't think this place works, Daddy. And I was like, oh, okay, why? And she's like, where are you going to put your gym? There's no space for your gym, Daddy. Kid's fucking clued in. Kid knows that that's really important, And that's where it starts. It's why I need to do this now, before it's too late, before it's ingrained in them who Dad is. And you gotta have more. So I look at that, and every morning I wake up and I go, it's time to go to work. And as I said, I do not like where I'm at with my business. It is a grind, but you got to flip it on its head, and you got to find that challenge, and you do it for them, because that business is what provides for our whole family. It's what put a roof over our head. It's what puts food on our table. It matters. So I'm going to keep doing it until I build the other thing, until I can keep chasing my greatness, and that's what I do every single day. But I'm going to chase this every day in every aspect I have. But right now, my challenge is that I have to build this to something that I can sell, that will support us financially until I can sell it. And then I'll move on to the next thing. I'm going to sell it by the end of this year. It'll be done. But it doesn't mean I get to quit now. And that's part of my challenge. So my purpose is my kids. My challenge is to build something that will replace. Well, actually, it's part of 3 phases. 1, at the moment, I'm completing 126, and I'm going to fucking war with the sad sack of a human being that I used to be. And I am fucking demolishing him and rebuilding myself in the vision of something that is greater, that I have in my head, the man that I know I am. The second phase is that I am going to sell this business, but I'm going to rock it and be the best goddamn version of myself in that business until the second I sell it. And then third is I'm going to not only replace that income, but at bare minimum, double it this year, if not triple it, so that I have something to provide for my family on that. That is my challenge. And I am going to war with the habits, the mentality, and all those things that used to be there. Those things that keep rising up, they're rearing their fucking ugly head at me, of the man I used to be, and his last dying efforts to pull me back down. And it's there, and they keep coming up, and every time I think I crush it, they come up again. But that's part of the fucking game, and I'm going to war with that. And I'm also going to war with, that shadow career, because I'm going to show up as the man I know I am, but I still got to show up and do the best goddamn job I can on that shadow career until it's done. Its closing chapters are coming, but I've got to be the best fucking version of myself to do it. And this is what you need: purpose, challenge, go to war with something. And it's what the tenets of the 126 to greatness are. They are to teach you these skills, to build this fortitude. And it's why it doesn't feel like you are building that mental toughness, that accountability, that drive, that fortitude, that zero choice mentality, but you fucking are. Like, as I said, the first 50 days were just the warm up act. I felt like, oh yeah, I'm doing good. But the more I get into it, the more momentum that builds, and it builds and it builds and it builds. And I get to this point, and every day I'm more and more fired up. I want to do more of the work. I want to push harder. I want to show up. I want to sit here at my computer till the wee hours of the morning and do the fucking shit, because in here is lit up. In here is on fire. In here is ready to fucking go. So go I will. And that's what it's about. Because you build it first. You build it first physically, and then it transitions into emotionally and mentally and spiritually, and you unleash that man who you are, and it overflows into every aspect of your life. And that's where your greatness comes from, because you start showing up differently. You start showing up in every fucking aspect of your life as a different fucking man. That's how you know it's time. That's how you know you're doing what needs to be done. And it's amazing. It is amazing to fucking witness. And look, I'm going to, toot my own horn, because the man I am now versus the man I was 50 days ago, completely different fucking man. Like, outrageously different man to that, But it's fucking wonderful to witness. And I cannot wait to see where I'll be at the end of 126 days. I cannot wait to see what I'm like when I've completed Chasing Greatness, and then I've joined the Greatness Club. I've completed a full year of this kind of stuff as the man who I'll be inside. Because I know that is life-changing. That is world-changing. I'm going to change the world of my kids, of my wife, of all those in my inner circle, of all those around me, and I'm going to lead a movement, a resistance, a rebellion of men who will not accept mediocrity, who will not accept that call to average, who want more, who will be more, who will do more. And I cannot wait to share that journey with you. So, this man is fired up, and I'm off to do some more work. But I had to get on here and share that with you. And I'll be back tomorrow to share more of this with you. Until then.